Hello and welcome back, everyone. Say hi, Elvis. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what goes into your college application. This is just the beginning of talking about the essays, but you first really need to know what all goes into the application, more than just the essay. So, other than your transcript and your SAT scores, your numbers, you're going to have a list of co-curriculars, what you've done outside of the classroom in the last 4 years. You're going to have your essays, and for most of you, you're going to have 1 to 2 essays, and for some of you, you're going to have a few more depending on how many short answer questions there are to an application for a particular school. You're going to have letters of recommendation, and they're going to come from your counselor, your college counselor, your school counselor, and they're going to come from 1 or 2 teachers. There are going to be interviewer comments in your file if you've done an interview at that school. Many schools don't offer interviews, you don't have to do them, but for those few schools out there, if you do an interview, there'll be some comments there made by the person who interviewed you. And then evidence of a good match. All that means is really just after looking at your file, does this seem to make sense? Is there evidence that you've done your homework and this is the right place for you? In other words, you shouldn't be applying to a college saying you want to major in nursing when that college doesn't even offer nursing or business or what have you. You want to make sure you use your space effectively. There are only so many documents that go into a college application. So you want to make sure that each piece of paper, if you will, really highlights the best of you. So for most of you, you're going to have a main essay, you're going to have a co-curricular list, 2 recommendations, your transcript, and your test scores. I have those in red because those you really can't change much at this point, although some of you are still taking SAT or ACTs. On your right, I think that's on your right, on my right anyway, it says SA1, SA2, and the co-curricular list. And that's kind of in blue and yellow specifically because that's the UC system. That is really what you have. You have your transcript, you have your test scores, you've got 2 essays, 1,000 words maximum for both essays, and you have your co-curricular list. So that's all you get in the UC application. So again, you want to make sure you're using your space effectively and choosing your essay topics that best highlight you, which we'll get to in the next couple of videos. Here I have one, I call this the flower chart or the spider chart, and to my left, I hope it's on your left as well, is the one with lots of flower petals, if you will, or spider legs. And that's because that's the common application. In the common application, you're going to find a main essay. You're going to have 1 short answer question that asks you to write about 1 meaningful activity. The thing in orange, it says short cues, short questions. That's for individual colleges, and so you'll see what each individual college asks for, and we're not going to really talk about that in this video or the next couple, but I will at some point. There's a co-curricular list, and then there's 2 teacher recs in addition to the college counselor recommendation or the school counselor recommendation. So there are lots of pieces that go into the common application, but again, there's still so much space, so you want to really highlight the absolute, few things that you really want colleges to know. That in comparison to the UC application, which remains the same. So in other words, whether you're applying to one of the most selective UC schools, such as Berkeley or UCLA, or one of the ones that is less difficult to get into, the UC application is the same no matter which campus you're applying to. So you want to be sure that you're highlighting your best there. Here are 2 examples of a couple of well-rounded students. To my right here, we have Jack, and Jack has been in class council, he's been on the green team, which means he's involved in a lot of environmental stuff and getting the school to change their light bulbs and things like that. He's a Boy Scout, he's a leader on and off the field, he wants environmental science, he's taken pre-calc and economics. He's a B student with a 1790 and a 650 math score, and he loves comic books. Now I highlighted the math score here just because in environmental science and in any science you're going to be doing sort of a lot of math and science, and so he was smart to take the math SAT 2. Or I'm sorry, not the math SAT 2, but in his math it's smart to sort of highlight that score there. On my left, we have Erica, who is a babysitter. She's a volunteer at a children's hospital. She does soccer and service club. She wants to major in nursing, so I've highlighted here that she's taken 4 years of math and science, and in her senior year she took anatomy. She's a B student with a 1790, very, very similar to Jack, and she loves dogs, and she's the youngest of 3 girls. And there you see a picture of Erica and her favorite little guy. Erica, okay, so if we were to take Erica, my question to you is sort of, who would be the best people to ask for letters of recommendation for Erica? Keeping in mind she wants to major in nursing and she's taken 4 years of math and science, those 2 teachers are probably her best bet. She probably is going to want to ask both math and science, or she'll want to be sure to ask a math or science teacher in addition to maybe a social studies or an English, some other department that's sort of more humanities or writing based. In terms of what Erica could write about in her main essay or her shorter answer question, her most meaningful essay, most meaningful activity, there are lots of things to choose from here. And what I want to point out is that I don't want you to fall into the rut of doing what everybody else does. There are only so many topics that a 17-year-old, really has come across in their life. So they're going to be pretty similar topics across the board. So yes, her volunteer work at Children's Hospital might be a great essay, but it may not be the most unique essay for Erica. Although obviously she wants nursing, she could really put a spin on it and maybe make it great and really make it stand out. But I don't want you to think that that's the only one. Erica here loves dogs. She could probably write something fantastic about her love for dogs and tie it into something else in her life. She's the youngest of 3 girls, so there's something there. So she's the youngest and probably always being taken care of, but at the Children's Hospital she gets to be the caregiver. So there are a few fun things that she can look to. Looking at Jack, again, the question, who would write for Jack? First of all, definitely Jack wants to ask his math teacher. That's a no-brainer. And then some other teacher that he's had a good relationship with, or some class that he started out doing so-so, but then really skyrocketed in the end, things like that. So lots of teachers to ask, but you want to be sure that one of the teachers sort of focuses on the major that you're looking at. In terms of Jack's main essay and or the short answer question, again, lots to talk about here. Boy Scouts, at Vassar, we used to love Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. They were sort of different and we didn't see them very often. So there's probably lots there. FBLA stands for Future Business Leaders of America. So maybe he started some great project and so maybe he wants to talk about that. Class council. His love of comic books is something quirky and different and unique, and depending on how he wrote about it, that could be really something that stands out. So, that could be something. And maybe for his short answer, he could write about Boy Scouts or one of the others that we highlighted. Okay, let's look at some kids these are sample students applying to highly selective and most selective colleges. And these are, for the most part, real students that I've taken from sort of my years of working with students, and there may be a mix of kids involved in these 2 sample students, but for the most part, they look like this. So to my left here, we've got Marlo, who went to do some research at UCLA. She also did a summer program in journalism, which maybe she did at Columbia, maybe at Northwestern, some great writing programs. She does a lot on campus, fencing, literary magazine, writing tutor, so lots of writing highlighted there. 4 years of math and science, 8 APs. She wants to major in both science and English. She's an A student, as you can imagine, with a 2340, a 720 in biology. I highlight the biology because that's her SAT 2 that she chose to take, which was very smart considering that she wants to major in science. And she loves cooking Italian food. To my right here, we have Victor, who is the captain of the football and baseball team. He's the ASB vice president. He speaks Spanish, so he's done really well in Spanish, and he's collected over 100 uniforms for underprivileged kids in Los Angeles. So sort of tying in his passion for sports in with the community, that's a great thing to do. He volunteers as a referee and for football, and he's taken 9 APs. He wants to major in international business, an A student with a 750 math score on his SAT. And he loves salsa dancing, which also sort of ties in his sort of maybe love and passion for Spanish and Spanish culture, etc. Let's take a look. So Marlo has many options here. Again, for her, I would recommend that she ask her science teacher and an English teacher to write her letters of recommendation, of course, for her. And then for her main essay, she's got lots to write about. Now remember, if you're a Marlo and you're applying to the Ivy League type schools and those that are most selective across our country, like Notre Dame, USC, Duke, Rice, places like that, all the students look like this. And so picking on something, some little thing that makes you a little bit quirky, a little bit different, is going to be important. So I would say that Marlo may want to write maybe about her love for cooking Italian food. Maybe that she learned that from her grandmother. Maybe that's just a passed down recipe that she got from the family. Maybe there's something else to write about for Marlo. But in terms of her most meaningful activity, she's got lots to choose from as well, including her research and her lots of writing that she can do. So there are lots of choices here, but don't fall into the rut that is going to be the best thing for her to do is to write about her science research at UCLA. It may be, but let's not, already decide that. For Victor, Victor obviously is going to ask probably his Spanish teacher to write a letter of recommendation, as well as his math teacher. He's probably taking AP Calculus, AB or BC in his senior year, and obviously he wants to major in business, international business. So those are probably the two best letters of recommendation that can come for Victor, but there are probably others as well. Again, if you look similar to Victor, or you're sort of on this path of applying to highly competitive schools, you want to really think about what's the best thing for me to write about. Is it my love for football and baseball and being the captain of that and showing leadership? Is it my community service with Los Angeles, collecting 100 uniforms for LA students that are underprivileged? Again, that could make a great essay, but are others going to write about something similar? Probably. So again, Victor should not sell himself short in just settling for something that we see here on paper and that looks good. So we're going to dig a little deeper in the next couple of essays. So what's next for you? I want you to begin thinking about your application. What do you want the colleges to know about you? And what do you value in your life right now? What do you value in your life right now? Sort of if we were to make a chart that looked like you with your little spider chart or your flower chart, what are some things that you would be sure that we would want to write down so that we fit them in somewhere in your flower or spider chart? So come back for the next video. We're going to talk about the essay questions, and I'm going to give you some tips on topics to consider for your essays. Goodbye.